Hello everyone, welcome to another video of FFL 24/7. Today's video is going to be another very cool stock analysis, and the stock we are going to be reviewing today is going to be Square. And why we are reviewing Square today? Because Square is also one of the stock that is forming a very major technical setup in the charts that I wanted to discuss with you guys. So if you are following Square stock, or if you are planning to buy or holding Square stock, so you might want to watch out for these few updates that I want to share with you guys. So let's get right into the video and see what's happening with the Square stock. So let me pull up the technical. So the graph will be a little bit more technical from this point onwards, but I will be explaining to you guys in a very easy way. So what's happening? So here it is, guys. So there are a few very cool developments happening with the Square stock. So obviously we have seen the euphoria around the peak back in August 2021. That was around 285, and then we crashed all the way back down to $38. So Square is also very similar in the chart and graph compared to PayPal stock. So PayPal, we have also been doing technical analysis, but this particular one is going to be about the Square. So why this is very important. So what we are here to discuss is if we are forming a bull thesis or a bearish thesis. So there are a few things that I want you guys to pay attention to. So I want you guys to focus on this area. I'm going to be zooming into this area, and I want to show you guys something. So here it is. I am zoomed into the most recent price action of Square stock. So one thing to notice is the day after the earnings. So earnings were actually a miss. There was a surprise, like a miss on the EPS, but there was also a surprise, a positive beat on the earnings. So EPS was a miss, but earnings was a beat. And even though there was a miss on the earnings, but if you notice this volume bar the next day after the earnings, the next couple of days after the earnings, we saw a huge gap up of Square all the way up to this major fib level of 0.382, which is where we are already seeing a very nice consolidation and bounce. So apparently, so this is looking like a very bullish sign. Obviously, seeing this kind of volume, because if you look at the average volume that Square stock has been seeing over the last 1 year, so this is obviously standing out and definitely signaling a lot of institutional investment coming into the Square stock. And what is happening right now is they are testing this 0.382 fib level as a very critical support, and this is turning out to be now a demand zone for Square stock. So initially this was obviously a supply zone where we see some kind of sell-off happen, and we crashed all the way back down to 74. But what is critical right now is also this 85 to $86 area. So this is also turning out to be a slight resistance for Square stock. And why am I saying this? So if you guys notice at these three candlesticks that we have seen exactly at this 85 and 86 area, so this is kind of also painting an evening star kind of pattern, and we have gone back down to test it, and we have seen a rejection. So this is also in terms kind of a bearish price action. But what is going to be important is if we are going to be holding this 0.382, even though they have thrown out a bearish signal exactly at this level of around 85 to 86 area, but overall things are still looking bullish for Square stock. So as long as we support this 3.382 area, which is sitting at around exactly $80, if you do not see a close below this, then I think we are still looking pretty good. So this is the 4-hourly chart. So I want to show you guys what's happening on the daily chart. So the picture becomes a little bit more clear on the daily chart as well. So as you guys can clearly see, we have seen a clear rejection at this almost $86 area for Square stock. So this is going to be a major resistance for Square to break. And what also is happening is, let me zoom out a little bit and show you guys what is happening, and I will show you my price targets. So this is what I am zoomed out. So before we were looking at this a small area around here, which was the most recent price action. But if you zoom out, you also see a little bit of a broader picture. So if you notice, we are also forming a very nice and beautiful inverse head and shoulders pattern for Square stock. And why this is extremely bullish, if you notice, the neckline of this Square stock is exactly sitting at this major fib level of 0.382 that we discussed before, that is around $80. So this is turning out to be a perfect neckline of this inverse head and shoulders pattern, and we have already broken out above this. And not just that, we have come back down to test it. and we have already seen a bounce, and now we are seeing some resistance at $85 area. But I think we are going to be slightly bullish at this point onwards. And why we are saying that? Because we have just seen a golden cross happening around here. So if you guys notice, so this yellow line is the 50-day moving average, and this blue at the bottom is the 200-day moving average. So the 50 has crossed above the 200-day moving average. We have seen a golden cross exactly at the bounce of another major fib level that was sitting at around the $64 area. So that is in a way also a very bullish sign, and this is also a perfect turning out to be an inverse head and shoulders pattern, which we have already broken out and tested it as a support. So what is going to be the price target for this inverse head and shoulders pattern? So let's take a look real quick. So from the bottom all the way to this neckline, this is turning out to be a $42.34 of price action. So if we do the same price action in the opposite direction, this is going to be at around, sitting at around almost very close to this another major fib level that is at around 123 area. So my price target for this inverse head and shoulders pattern is actually going to be around almost close to 122ish area, 120 just to be on the safe side. But again, we have another major fib level sitting at around exactly $125 area. So this is all turning out to be a very nice bullish price action, the pattern that they have been forming in the chart. So this is looking like a very perfect inverse head and shoulders pattern that we have already broken out above. Obviously, we are not going to go to this 125 area in like one shot. So there are going to be three sets of price target that I will be looking at. So my first price target is obviously going to be around this major fib level that is at around the $94 area, and my second price target is going to be around 106, and our next price target is going to be around the 120 area. So 120 would be the max breakout of this inverse head and shoulders pattern that I would be looking at. So again, this is not a financial advice, but as a trading hit, as a trading idea. So if you guys are playing options, so if you are playing calls, so personally what I would be looking at is I would be looking at the long dated option calls for Square stock, and my price target is going to be around 125 or 120 area. These are going to be the strikes that I will be personally watching myself. And again, I will be not playing any of the short dated options because this just increases the risk. If there is like a sideways price action, they are just going to burn your premiums of the option. So it is much safer to play the longer dated options, and the strikes that we are looking at is 120 and 125 for Square stock. Again, this bull thesis is going to nullify if we close below this neckline resistance of $80. So if we see a close below 80, then this bull theory is going to be avoided. So, and also what we need to keep track of is this RSI at the bottom. So I also want to show you some very positive divergence on the RSI. So if you guys notice at the bottom, so this is also I want to show you guys. So RSI, this is not one of the major factors that we should be considering, but definitely it gives us a very strong hint that RSI is also trending in the upward direction. So we are seeing an upward convergence into RSI as well. So this is again another pasting a very positive bullish sign. And not just that, why am I more bullish? Because of this golden cross that we have already seen, and also this 50-day moving average and this black uptrend line. They are also sitting right below this $80 of support that we have been tracking. So we have like major sets of support building up very nicely on a Square stock. So unless there is like a very huge negative catalyst in the market, I think this is turning out to be another very bullish uptrend that is forming in Square stock. So that is all I quickly wanted to share with you guys. If you guys like the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.